This is the Stubborn German Podcast. I'm Kevin Ostie, coming to you from the delightful Stubborn German Brewing Company in beautiful Waterloo, Illinois, which is just a stone's throw from the St. Louis region, just a little bit southeast in Illinois. And, of course, we're joined by the proprietor of the Stubborn German Brewing Company, Mr. Chris Ron.
Hi there, Kevin.
Hello, Chris. And our esteemed producer, Mr. Jared Chasson.
Good evening.
Good evening it is. And we got a very special guest this time. A gentleman who's been a patron and a supporter of all things Stubborn since day one.
He has. And before then.
Well, in addition to being kind of a big supporter of this community in this area, Mr. Mike Fausz.
Hello.
Welcome, Mike.
Thanks for coming on, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so
this will be fun.
It will be fun. And before we get into to all the fun, if you've heard the show before, you know that Chris likes to torture us with a German Word of the Day contest.
Oh, yeah.
To which we still have not ever had a winner.
One of these days.
Yeah, this is episode, 24 or 3, something like that? No winners.
A couple,
This is 23. We have been close.
Well, Mike's been practicing. So.
Yeah, he's brushing up on his German. So, okay, I've got a very special edition of the German Word of the Day today. So this one is called Der Betrüger. Der Betrüger.
Der Betrüger.
Guest goes first.
That's right, because we're polite.
You know the rules.
Der Betrüger.
Well, if I had to guess at this, I would think it's
You do.
the deer hunter.
The Deer Hunter. I like
Interesting.
Playing the
It's
contest.
very seasonal. And, okay.
Okay.
Did that inspire you, Jared?
The Deer
I
Hunter.
don't know. Let's see. I'm going to say the... Oh, man.
Yeah, you're right.
It popped in my head, and then I thought, no, I
Damn,
can't
I
do
was
that.
going to say that.
Here's what I was going to say. And this obviously isn't right, because you would just say this word. The Bratwurst. But it's not the Bratwurst.
What's German for Bratwurst?
What's the German word for bratwurst? What's the German word for Braunschweiger? A sausage.
How do you
Let's
say
say
Bratwurst in German?
a spicy sausage. Let's go with that.
Spicy sausage. Okay.
Oh, man.
Wow. All right.
And once again, there go all my guesses.
Yeah, right.
You guys took them all from me.
you were gonna say
Exactly
bratwurst,
what
too?
you
I
were going to
was. I
say.
was going to say the Bratwurst.
Bratwurst.
Can you repeat the word, please?
I can.
Can you
It's-
use it in a sentence?
No. Der Betrüger.
There, but it means the Betrüger.
The Betrüger. It does.
You're on to something.
I think so.
You are halfway there.
All right, a Betrüger.
Betrüger.
So what is a Betrüger? It's it's the potato cannon,
The potato cannon.
All right.
Well,
obviously.
yeah. Obviously. Okay. The guesses have been tabulated, and I'm going to go ahead and just a total
You gonna
twist.
guess too?
I'm gonna guess. No, I'm gonna change things up. We're gonna actually just give you the word of the day, the answer right now.
Wow.
It means and before I say that, I want to also say that
Not right now.
not right now, but on the V8 radio podcast, I was listening to that the other day, and Kevin's co-host Mike Cueball Clark. He was talking about our German word of the day a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and give this to Mike that he could use this. That Betrüger means an imposter or a trickster.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And Mike claims that he listens to the Stubborn German podcast, yet he did not know that Gemütlichkeit was already used on a certain episode
Of the German word
He
of the
is,
day.
in fact, an imposter.
So he would be a Betrüger.
Wow.
There you go, Mike.
Holy
Nice.
But you know what? I don't feel bad about throwing him shade because he won't even hear this.
Right. Yeah, he'll never know.
And this is the dawning of the first podcast rivalry, ladies and gentlemen.
And
I'm
it's on.
in the middle.
Yes.
Kevin is torn between both sides.
Yes, well, the brilliant marketer in me says, tune into the V8 radio podcast to hear Mike's retort.
Oh, boy.
All right, well, speaking of that, welcome, Mr. Fausz.
Thank you.
So, Chris, you said that Mike's been, a supporter of yours long before the brewery even started. What does that mean?
Well, I guess it kind of all stemmed from he worked in the same office as my mother-in-law, and basically, kind of got word or wind that I was into brewing, and this is just as a home brewer back then. And Mike's always been a big fan of craft beer and just all things beer in general, I guess, right? So I would have our I don't know, did I probably gave you some bottles here and there?
You did.
growlers.
I mean, it was great. I would take my car down to get worked on and get a free six-pack.
There you go.
Well, that's a win-win-win right there.
Yeah, there you go.
So before Chris started setting you up with his beer, were you a craft beer guy too, or was there
Yes, I was. At that time, Schlafly was about the only craft beer around.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we would drink that, and then there was a little shop in Columbia that sold Lucy's, and we would go in there and pick up 6 packs of different ones and just have samplings. Some
Nice.
That is cool.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, and I think you were at a few of the very first Stubborn Fest that we had at our house.
I did make a couple of those Stubborn Fests, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I think you were telling me that
We actually sat and talked to you and Kelly one night there. I think probably about the last one that they had.
Nice.
Yeah, I
That's awesome.
remember.
Just barely.
Yeah, it sounds like you
It's
totally
all
remember.
foggy.
No,
but,
I do. That was
Great conversation that night.
Those were fun parties.
Oh, yes. And I learned after the first one, we brought our little sampling glasses because we would go to St. Louis to the Brewers Heritage Festival. So we would bring our little sampler glasses so we could just sample all the beers he had on draft.
Yeah.
There you go, because you were out shopping your beer all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is a technical question now for those who are into brewing. The cooler with the tap handles and the ice and the coil in it is called a jockey box?
That's a jockey box, yeah.
So it's just because it's a beer jockey, or what is it? Where does the term come from?
No
jockey
clue
box?
why they're called a jockey box.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
the insight you come to expect on this podcast
I let
is
you down.
lacking a little bit.
Beer-related
sure.
question
I
he's
have no
not
idea.
had an
I
answer
have no
for.
idea.
Tune in next time.
Can we talk about the 4 ingredients of beer, maybe?
right.
I know those.
That's right, the 4 food groups of beer.
So what is this you're referring to? A cooler with a coil and a...
Yeah, the beer goes, so it's cooler full of ice, and inside this cooler is either a coil or a chill plate.
Okay.
And so that's always, touching the ice, so it's very cold. And the beer, you can basically, if you wanted to, you could take room temperature beer, or on a hot sunny day, go through those coils in the ice, and it would come out cold.
All right.
So
the jockey box.
They're used out at Stubborn Fest out in the street here.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't require electricity.
It's a portable,
Nice.
way to take draft beer wherever you want. So
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of them now since we have the brewery. But I've had a 7-tap jockey box for the longest time, even as a home brewer. But now I've got 2 more than that. So
So the cooler only holds the ice. essentially.
Yeah.
And the beer's in a keg or a barrel.
And they're a pain in the butt.
Well, there's a CO2 connection and all that jazz.
Well, and to get beer to pour out of it cleanly and not all foam is tricky sometimes. And,
So here's the thing, we've been to events where Chris has supplied the beer.
Yes, we have.
Because Mike and Chris and I are all in the Waterloo Optimist Club, and there are certain events that Chris brings the jockey box and a couple of, small, I guess, what do you call the small, not pony kegs, but like soda pop kegs.
A 6-barrel.
A 6-barrel, right?
Yeah.
And it's always fun to see other people walk up and pour themselves a beer.
Yeah.
And Chris from across the yard, like glaringly looking at him, going, "No, you're doing it wrong."
No. I'll just go do it. Hold on. Give me a second.
Can you educate people how should they pour their beer?
I mean,
This is a great topic.
There's an angle and
Honestly,
everything.
it's however-
Wait, before you get into that, Mike, how do you pour that? What's the best
there
beer
you
go.
pour right there?
Okay. If I pour a beer, I hold the glass at about a 45, pour it, get about half full, and then I put it straight up to get a little head on it.
You want a little head.
How much
That's
head do
exactly
you
it.
want?
Half inch to an inch.
Half inch to an inch.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
You nailed it. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You do whatever you have to do to get good beer in the glass with an inch to 2 inches of foam, whatever you're shooting for.
Yeah.
If it's like our Hefeweizen glasses, that you want 3 or 4 inches worth of head on it. And sometimes that's tricky. And sometimes you just have to you gotta.
Can you explain that? Why would you want 3 or 4 inches of head on a Hefeweizen?
Oh, well.
Is that just style?
I have a thought.
Go ahead.
So many years ago, on one of our local rock and roll stations, the Anheuser brewmaster was a guest. And the DJ asked him this same question about pouring a beer off a keg and, how much head do you want? Because back in the college days, the goal was to have absolutely no head whatsoever.
All alcohol.
You're maximizing that beer, right, all the way to the top. And this gentleman pointed out, no. You want to generate some head in your beer because you have carbon dioxide in the beer, right? And if you don't let it foam up at the top, you end up drinking all that carbon dioxide, and it can only get out one of 2 ways, right?
Okay.
So is the Hefeweizen
That's exactly right.
Well, more
that is,
CO2 than...
It actually is, yeah. It's much more highly carbonated.
Look at
so
Kevin
it probably
dropping
started
the knowledge.
as, we want it to be a very spritzy, highly carbonated beer, and when you pour a beer that's highly carbonated, you just end up getting more head, and then they also design those glasses as those super tall, they get wider at the top. And also, not to mention, like we sell a pint, which is 16 ounces of beer. We always throw in the foam for free.
We appreciate that.
16
ounces.
Yeah, but if you fill that tall glass up to the top, like if you just put water in it, it'd be like 22 ounces.
Okay.
So we're always like on new bartenders, like you cannot overfill,
not
especially
put too much beer
that
in a
glass.
Hefeweizen glass.
Yeah, because you're giving people a whole, another half of a beer for free.
We appreciate that too.
Yeah, for sure.
I always get a kick out of watching people come in here who aren't used to getting a craft beer here, and they'll pour the beer like that, and they look out like, I think I just got gypped on my beer.
Yeah.
You got 16 ounces, I promise.
Yes,
Right.
they just don't realize it.
Yeah, they don't.
Well, in Germany, the law is a marker on the cup, on the mug, right?
Yeah,
There's a half
that is
liter
true.
and a liter.
Yes.
There's one right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Right there, half liter. Yep.
1/2 L.
You will
look at
fill
that.
it to that, or you go right to jail.
Now I
Yes.
know. I'm going to hold your
Police eye.
bartenders accountable.
Der Kommissar. So, after Chris opened, you've been kind of a fixture here. You and your wife, Darcy, have always been big supporters. But not just at the bar, but at all those various different events. I mean, it's like, it's not a thing unless Mike's here somewhere.
Well, I don't think there's a festival Chris had that we haven't attended yet.
We need to make a special T-shirt for this guy.
Yeah, right.
That's okay.
I've been to every Stubborn German event.
That's it. So, do you have any favorites of...
Well, it's hard to beat Stubborn Fest. I mean,
Sure.
that is just the ultimate one, but I don't know. They're all good. The breakfast is good. The Bach Beer Fest.
Ooh.
The Bach beer, the first Bach Beer Fest you had, when you had the goat come through with the
Yeah.
wagon and the keg on it,
Oh, man.
was just great.
That
The place
was
was packed.
Out of sight. Yep.
That is a great story, and we have not even touched that on this podcast.
We never
yet.
talked about the goat.
We never have.
Oh yeah. So okay. Bach means goat in German, and so Bach also happens to come from a town called Einbeck, and I think Bach and the Beck and Einbeck kind of just got a little twisted up there, and so now they call it Bach, which happens to also mean goat. So
That's
why
that's
you
suggesting that the style of beer from Einbeck is called a Bach.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what kind of beer that is. Basically, it's a higher ABV, more malty version of a German lager, basically. But yeah, usually like there's different levels, but you're talking 6 to 7% for a traditional Bach, and then a Doppelbock might be 8, 9, 10% alcohol, and there's a Weizenbock, there's a Maibach, which is fresh for springtime, so it's hoppy and maybe 7%. And we do that whenever we call it birthday Bock, because we try to have it for our birthday in April. Yeah, so right before May, late April. But anyway, to have Bach Beer Fest, one year we made a whole bunch of them at all at the same time. We're like, let's release all these at the same time, and I was like, we need a goat.
So yeah,
Of course.
As far as the goat's concerned, so if this is Bach beer, did it just?
So
the
goats-
connection is what I'm going for.
Yeah. Goats have, well, like if you look at some of the old German, labeling for Bach beers, a lot of them have goats somehow on them because of that. So to associate a goat with Bach is not a new thing. It's a German
Yeah, but did somebody, did Klaus wake up one day and say, I'm going to make a beer about a goat? I mean, which
I'm not
first?
sure how that,
That
like I said,
association?
how they.
I think it was the 8% alcohol that
Could've
did it.
been.
That also.
Next thing you know, you're riding a goat, you got no pants, and who knows?
There was a little slurring going on. I'm not really sure.
So in honor of that tradition,
we found a goat.
You released your Bach beers, and you had a goat hanging out here in the bar.
Yeah, well, so not just hanging out.
Parading.
We paraded. So the goat pulled a wagon, and the wagon had the ceremonial keg, which is like a 5-gallon
so awesome.
like party keg, basically. So the goat's wheeling it, and everybody's just like they're not sure if they should like cheer and like spook the goat, or if they should like just
stand at
be
attention.
silent. So everybody's just taking pictures and a video of this goat walking through. It starts at the back door. If you've been here, it's the back
It's
door.
like the Emperor's New Clothes. Stubborn's new goat.
But yeah, it'll go all the way from the back to the front, and at the bar it stops, and I get the keg off, and I work on the keg, and then the goat handler takes the goat out the front
tears
door.
and clapping.
Yeah, lots of tears. And then I usually make a huge mess with beer everywhere because it's foamy and I'm hitting it with a hammer. Imagine taking a beer can and just smashing it with a hammer, and then just opening the top. That's kind of what this is. So
Inside, on top of it.
at the bar, yeah, with a packed house, yeah. But we did that like 2 years, and then
Now, I think Tammy mentioned potential code violations.
Yeah.
And,
No, we don't talk about that. I did not mention that.
I can edit that out.
It wasn't a violation, but she said when we had our health inspection, she goes, I saw what you did with the goat.
It's okay. He was drunk.
Yeah.
She's like, we probably need to stop that.
Oh, man, you are at the inaugural and only.
Yeah,
That's right.
We did it like twice. So I don't know. I'm always trying to think of ways to skirt around, the law. But maybe we'll have like a goat parade outside. I'm not really sure.
Well,
So-
maybe you could have the goat bring in the first keg for Stubborn Fest.
Yeah, there you go. Outside.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would be so ceremonial. It would. You could get the Bolzen beer band or
The Waterloo German. Yeah.
or the Dortmeisters, right?
The Deutschmeister brass band. Yeah.
to play the goat serenade, which I'm sure is a thing.
Oh, and if it's not, they'll write it.
Yeah.
No problem.
Now, Mike, I'm always curious with people that knew Chris before he started Stubborn German.
Oh boy.
And be honest here. Did you know when he decided to start a brewery that he was going to make it, that it was going to be successful?
Have we made it?
Well, I made it here, so you made it.
I mean, he has a podcast.
I guess
that's true.
I
I
had a
forgot
lot of
about that.
hope that he would make it.
Yeah, hope.
I wanted a place to go drink beer myself.
Right.
This is, to me, my bar when I come to town.
Awesome.
But I remember when he unveiled his building here, and he had tape on the floor, and this is where the kegs are going to be, and the old glass wall was out to the front yet. And,
Yep.
and he had a half-barrel keg tapped in the back, and we all just stood around and talked about it.
Yeah. Talked about, wow, that's going to be a lot of work.
And it was.
It was a lot of work.
I actually, me and my wife
Yeah,
and
you
son
guys
came
came
up
and helped
did some demolition
some
and built
demo.
some chairs. And
That's right. That's right. Yep.
So it's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Gosh, so I forget about some of that, like the people that have, that's terrible, but yeah, it's just
He forgets
that's
about
right.
the
Yeah,
little
Mike-
people
Mike
all
was
the
here.
time.
Yeah, no, it was.
I don't
I mean,
care about the little people.
I mean, it to me, it didn't seem like work. I mean, you had a goal
Right.
inside at the end,
Sure.
and the quicker everybody pitched in, the quicker it would be open and we could have fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's a great way to look at it. And I think I told you off the air in the past, but the idea of a little wall of fame here, I think kind of needs to happen.
Yeah.
Because guys like Mike, who've been here since way before day one and know all these stories and are an integral part of the history of this place. Not to sound, like I'm demeaning this, but the wall by the bathroom.
But that's exactly where it has to go.
Just so you know, on that side, it's just picture because you go to certain restaurants, they got pictures of celebrities, and it's like, oh yeah, hey Mike, I love your food or whatever. But in this case, that would be pretty cool to pay homage to the people that because so many of them were there on day one and are still here every weekend.
I think it'd be a huge wall, and that's probably why we haven't really done this.
Who do you leave off? And,
Yeah,
and make upset?
That's
that's the worst
too.
part.
Where do you stop?
Yeah.
And, because
we'll
there's-
work on that.
Yeah, we'll think about that.
We could do something digital. We could do a monitor on the wall that just rotates a slideshow. And that
Here's
could be
Mike swinging a hammer 6
for sure.
years ago.
Yeah, here's Mike riding the goat.
It's going to be a big goat.
Where did you get the goat? Whose goat was it?
Well, I happen to
What was
have
his name?
a Boo.
Boo the goat.
Boo the
Boo.
goat.
All
We
right.
had a good customer at the shop that I don't know if I knew they had goats, but I knew they were on a farm, and
They were goatish.
we just made a phone call. I was like,
Nice.
yeah, we got a goat. Like, perfect. The first person I asked, do you have a goat? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah. How many do you need?
course.
Of course. What are you talking about?
Is it tame enough to... Oh, yeah, no problem.
Will it pull a wagon full of beer?
Does it like beer?
Don't ask any more questions. Just take my goat.
Yeah.
So, okay, Stubborn Fest, the Bach party. Any other favorite events here? Because you've been to
I mean,
all
the
of them.
breakfast is always good.
Bavarian Breakfast,
Bavarian
yeah.
Breakfast. It's a full house in here, and it's nice. I like that better than the black beer because
Ooh, Black Beer Friday.
Black Beer Friday,
Which is coming up.
You got to fight to get a seat.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's too
so
popular.
sometimes, I mean, I've been here at 6 in the morning. I came at 4 in the afternoon, and in between. It's
Sure.
just I hit different times.
Yeah.
I almost like to come about 10 or so, and the first wave is leaving, and then I
Yeah.
can get in here
Yeah.
and we can get seats and sit and have a good time.
That probably
Well,
is the move, yeah.
Yeah, but the breakfast, I mean, you got a ticket, so you know you
You're
got a
in.
seat somewhere.
Yeah. You got food
And
coming, you got beer,
point.
you got... Yeah.
me and Darcy will come up by ourselves, and we'll just sit with whoever was there because
Luck of the draw.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's great to meet new people.
Mm-hmm.
I have met so many people in this bar that are from St. Louis, South County, Belleville, O'Fallon, and just great people that
Mm-hmm.
just love to have beer and want to talk.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's why we have like the long tables in the back and all that. Like, yeah, I mean, you're supposed to meet some new friends. That's the point.
And that's what it's about. I mean, it reminds me of when I was in Germany.
Yeah.
You had long
Awesome.
beer tables out in the beer garden.
yeah, and
Was
you
that-
sit wherever you sit. And-
Exactly.
Was that some visits to Germany, or did you work out there?
No, me and my wife were able to go out there probably 24, 25 years ago
Nice.
over to Munich and spend a week.
Awesome.
Were you at the big Oktoberfest?
No, we were not. We were there in July.
So
missed it.
Stubborn Fest fills that need for sure.
It does for now. I
Yeah.
would still like to go see that just
Gotta go
once.
do that. Yeah, me too.
So the breakfast he's talking about is the Bavarian Breakfast. And
Yeah,
do
you
you know
need
the
to-
story on how that started?
No, I don't. I just know he had it listed that he was having an event at breakfast, and
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, let's go do this.
I didn't even give credit to the person that came up with it, Kevin.
Well, that was
Wow, we're unfolding some things here.
peeling away the German onion.
Tell us, Kevin.
German onion.
so I guess you know the story how it came about.
I'm going to
do.
let Kevin tell the story. You can say it better than I can.
Right. Well, so the Bavarian Breakfast is something that I actually attribute to my uncle Glenn, who is my godfather, as a matter of fact. And what he used to do is, in the Chicago area, growing up, in January, would have this outdoor breakfast. And he called it the Bavarian Breakfast. And what he would do is have like these giant plates of cold cuts and German breads, and he would brew the Glühwein, the warm spiced wine, and there was always a lot of beer. And he's in a German band, and the band would play, and the Alpenhorn, which is, you got one on the wall over there.
Yeah.
The guy would play the Alpenhorn, and you'd stand up and have a little fire, and up there you'd have 6-8 inches of snow on the ground. But you stand there from 8 in the morning until noon, and nobody cares that there's snow on the ground at that point. You got plenty of antifreeze in you, by that point. And it was always a really good time. And when I moved away from the Chicago area, unfortunately to leave my family kind of behind, I went to California, and I met a guy whose nickname was Schting.
Schting. All right.
Schting. And his name was Gunther Burgard. And Gunther was a German guy that looked like Sting, so they called him Sting.
Sting.
So
like
is Gunther the German word for sting?
Well, it is now, as of tonight.
He looked like Sting, so they called him Schting
Yeah,
because he's
Schting,
German.
right.
Like SCHTIN.
Yeah, exactly. Schting.
Schting.
And he was, of course, he was a craftsman. He was a carpenter, and he built stuff. And he played soccer. In fact, he played soccer with Rod Stewart. He was on Rod Stewart's team towards California. Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Well, one day,
Rod Stewart's a soccer player?
yes.
Sting and Rod Stewart.
I know.
Sting, Rod Stewart.
Listen to the
Start
names
a
we're bringing
band.
to this show.
Man.
Wait till Biddy Otto comes on next.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, he's been here. So, Sting. So holidays roll around, and in California, in Southern California, you don't get snow, obviously, and it was a weird adjustment. Christmas time, and it's warm outside.
Yeah.
And my first, second year out there, I didn't have the resources to travel back east to see my family. So Sting says, "Hey, why don't you come to my house? We're going to have Frischhopen."
Yes.
I'm sorry. What? Frischhopen. It's early drinking. Early drinking.
It's our next German word of the day.
Well, I already blew that one.
Thanks.
So I said, well, you got to tell me about this early drinking concept, right? I go to his house. It's the same deal. You got the cold cuts. You got the sausages, the Geflügelwurst, the bird sausage and beer and everything, all done by noon.
The Haas and pepper.
That's it. And I'm like, my uncle used to do this, with good mustard and everything. So it was nice
So
to be able to
hungry
kind
right
of, I know, to kind of pick up that tradition over there. Well, then I move here, and Chris and I, again, we're at a Waterloo Optimist Club meeting one night, and he's talking about how him and Tammy love to have events here, but wintertime is kind of tricky, what do you do? And I said, you need to have a Bavarian breakfast, right? Explain this whole thing to him. He's like, sure, I'm in. And I helped locate some of the authentic food and stuff, and we got my buddy Paul's mom's recipe for the Glühwein.
We still use that.
Yep, that's a good one.
Yeah,
and next thing you know, I'm out in front brewing the wine, and you're inside eating the sausages, and everybody's having a great time. We've got friends that come down from Chicago just for this event, and it's a good one.
It's a fun event for
nice.
sure. So yeah, we're going to do that again this year. I would guess that I think we usually start selling tickets like right after the holidays and all that, kind of let all that die down. But I think it's the last Saturday in January, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I think we landed on a date.
I think
last week. I think.
So yeah, and I think was it the first year we did this? There was a little bit of snow, just like a few flurries, but it was still enough to be like, hey, there's some weather. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But and the majority of the people come in and they stay indoors and they eat food and drink the beer, which is fine. I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, Kevin's original idea was this was like an outdoor event. So I mean, we kind of have a small patio. You couldn't put all those people on the patio anyway. But the idea is to come out, get your Glühwein outside, kind of hang out for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
We got we've got desserts and deli trays and stuff like that outside, to supplement your breakfast. And grab one of those, drink some Glühwein, get back in.
So my uncle kind of got out of hosting that one because it is a lot of work, especially if it's your house.
Sure.
And my good friend Paul picked up doing it, and he would have all of us over. And it's funny because that one, again, in the Chicago area, it's much colder than it is here at that time of year. And he would have 35, 40, 50, 75, 100 people in his backyard.
Wow.
Drinking and eating, and then they're all coming into the kitchen, just tracking into all this mud, and there's snow everywhere and everything. So there's
Great time to clean the floors.
It is, and Paul carried it on for 9 or 10 years,
really?
I think. Yeah,
that's really cool.
We're trying to get him to come down for yours and see how it stacks up.
That'd be awesome.
It's
so Mike, you and Chris and Kevin are all Optimist Club members, right?
Yes.
Yep.
That's right.
And we're talking about events that are, that happen either at the brewery or just in town. What are some other things that are coming up during this? We're about to hit the holidays here, right? Is there anything coming up?
Tammy's got to have a
Nothing at
calendar
all.
loaded.
Nothing at all.
No,
I know that's
nothing.
not true.
There's all kinds of stuff. Just, Waterloo in general is such an awesome place to be in around the holidays. Just, any chance that our leadership here in town has to kind of express that and really drive home the small town, we're going to get into Christmas type of a feel. They do it, and I love that about this area. But there's, just to name a handful of things that I could think of. There's a Christmas walk that they do every year. We've got rope lighting, like Christmas lights every 50, 75 yards all down Main Street and Mill Street right now. and that's up now until probably into January. So that's really cool. Just kind of adds to it.
Look at the pole decoration around the courthouse.
Yeah, the lamp pole things.
Everybody, or not everybody, people will rent a pole and put their own decorations, businesses, some individuals.
Yeah.
And it's neat. People walk around there and look at them. They have a little judging for them. And got the Santa hut at the corner.
Right. Yep. Santa's
that's
there
better
every
with
week.
a thermos of Glühwein.
Yes,
I'm sure.
There's just in the brewery here, you'll see probably 2 or 3 times, I would say, during December, there'll be groups of carolers that pop in and they'll sing for a little bit and get out. And I mean, that kind of feel is really cool. We've got the Santa float that drives around all the houses and all that and gives goodies to the kids, and that's really fun.
And so the first time I experienced that, again, I just moved here, and it was like 3 or 4 days before Christmas. And next thing you know, out in front of my own house in my neighborhood is a car pulling a trailer with a float and Santa with a PA throwing candy out.
A German float at that.
It was the German band float, and I couldn't believe how excited I got.
I should not be this happy.
I was running around like, oh my God. I'm like, Kelly, look at Santa Claus. And she's like, what's the matter with you? So like every year I'm standing out on the street corner waiting for Santa Claus. And Santa never fails. And,
that's right.
And it's one of those things that all this town is missing is the dome, and it would be a snow globe.
Yeah.
Yes.
For real.
Right.
And it's so
You're
cool.
Right. Yeah. It's an awesome. It really. I mean, I'm sure there's other towns that are great at doing this stuff as well, and I know there are. Redbud has a lot of really cool things too. There's plenty of Columbia too, but I mean, come to Waterloo, check this out. It's really cool. It's something that we can brag about. I think, and
I think so too.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the Black Beer Friday event, which is kind of the kickoff of the holiday season.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Which I'll admit I've not yet made it to, but I'm planning on coming this year.
You have not made a Black Beer Friday?
No. Well, normally
he's usually in line for a TV somewhere.
I'm waiting for doorbusters at Walmart.
Exactly.
He's got Amazon on his phone this year.
Yeah.
So we make a flyer up all the time, and it literally says like doorbusters. Like it's beer. We discount our beer. It's the only time of the year that we've ever discounted any beer ever. We just
tell us, what is Black Beer Friday?
So it started as Scott, one of our original bartenders, and I were kind of talking like we need to open up at 6 a.m. and just see if we can get like any of the wives to just drop their husbands off, and they can go shopping. The husband can sit here and drink some beer. And we, Scott and I were kind of like, I'll do it. And I was like, well, who's going to work this? And he obviously said
because
he would.
You're thinking you're going to be standing here with Scott.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I said. I was like, well, if nothing else, I'll sit here and drink beer with you at 6 a.m. on Black Friday. So little did I know, there's a line of people. It was a great idea. There's a line of people that are stretched around the building, and it was huge. And we kind of got. We got caught. Like we didn't think it'd be that big, but it was very big.
Wow.
But then we had some experience, so we've been doing it every year. We've been open, and the second year we had a lot more things dialed in. But by now it's a fairly well-oiled machine. I mean, there's still lines that there's lines everywhere though. Like if you want to go to Walmart, there's a line. You know what I mean? Like. So whatever you do that day, you're going to be waiting in a line.
I think one thing I have noticed through the years is there's less women shopping and more women coming in here and drinking beer on Friday.
Yeah. I thought it'd be full of men, like
No, I'd say it's at least half women, if not more.
Wow.
They're just shopping for beer.
Yeah, and there.
And you redo the tappers for that. You clear the slate.
Yeah. So thank you. The whole point of that day is that we take every beer that's normally on. Take those all off, and we brew all dark beers, black beers for this. So every single beer, all 16, it's actually 18 because we have 2 casks that are, so those are added to it. So you can get a flight 3 times, a flight of 6, 3 times.
3 different flights.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
have 18 dark beers?
Yes.
Holy cow.
That's a record of some sort.
Wow.
I know, right?
I didn't know that. I just assumed
Okay,
you
list
went
them off
through
now.
4 or 5.
I can actually. I have them right in front of me. Do you want me to?
What's the? Just give me the range of what.
Yeah,
what are the
okay.
differences?
Highlights.
Yeah, we have anything from barrel aged beers. Like each year we do like this will be 2021 Stumpy's barrel aged stout. So it's about a 10-11% alcohol stout,
Ooh, yeah.
aged in a Stumpy's barrel for about a year.
6 a.m., folks.
3 flights of them.
Good morning. I know. We've got a coconut porter. We've got dark German lagers. Like obviously, Shits and Giggles is like our only year-round beer that fits this, so it's on there. I'll take a little help when I can get it. So
That's right.
We've got a Schwartz beer, Bean Tree Coffee Stout.
Oh yeah.
So an oatmeal stout. We've got a few that we hang on to some throughout the year. So like the old dry hop porter.
Yep.
That was on. We held back a 6-barrel of that. So that's one of them. So if you really love that beer, which a lot of people said they did, you'll be able to get a little bit of that.
And what is the definition of a porter?
A porter and a stout are similar. They're same color. They're both pretty much black. A porter can be a little lighter in color, but where a stout is roasty, almost like coffee, cold, coffee. A porter is not quite as roasty. It's a little bit, but not that much, and it's more chocolatey typically. Yeah.
A little different flavor.
Yeah, a little less aggressive, I guess. But yeah, porters and stouts are. That's what most of these are. Porters and stouts
It's
or
like dark beer
lagers.
mocha.
Yeah,
That's right.
but I've got some cool stuff going. I found a new flavor combination that I'm always looking for this. But someone brought me a beer from another brewery, not in the St. Louis area, but they used cinnamon and coconut in a porter, like chocolate. So think of like a chocolate base with a little bit of coconut and a little bit of cinnamon.
It's
it works really well together.
It's like Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte.
That's right.
I was just going to say that.
I know you. That's German Black Forest cake.
German Black Forest,
okay.
yeah,
Which is it's like dark chocolate, coconut.
We have that also. Yeah.
Well, of course
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. That's the dark cherry one in
Yes.
chocolate. Yeah. But yeah, we and if you remember the Shoppy Fest day that we did,
Yes.
Remember the stout that I was like, old Leon liked to get down. He made like a 9% alcohol stout.
Yeah.
Well, I saved a keg of that and we barrel aged it, and then we split that barrel into 3 other 5-gallon kegs. And one we added vanilla to, one we added chocolate to, and the other one we kept as just a straight barrel aged beer. So
Interesting.
we'll have 4 different Shoppy beers basically.
Wow.
So one beer, but 4 different ways to try it.
So
Basically,
you can put
that's good.
one different one on each flight.
yeah,
your 3 flights.
I think we have them all in one so that you can compare.
No. Spread them out,
you
man.
can do, no. So and this is like normally when you get a flight here, you can pick whatever you want. These are all preset because like we got to get through the line. You know what I mean? So it's flight number 1, flight number 2, or flight number 3. You pick which one you want and. Go.
Or you can order just a pint.
You can order a pint, and that's where our doorbusters are. I think it's like from 6 o'clock till like 8 o'clock. It's like $3 off a pint of beer.
I was going to say, you said you got some discounts, right?
And then after 8 o'clock, it's like from 8 to 10 is
a heck
like
of a
$2
deal.
off. I'm not 100% sure on those.
He's wondering why there's this
and
big
numbers.
crowd.
Yeah. Well, I can drink for nothing at
right.
6 in the morning.
You didn't see the sign said free beer outside.
That's that, and in addition to that, of course, you've got the regular bar.
Yeah, well, yeah. And, I mean, no one's buying any bourbon that day or anything.
Well, that's what you
drinks.
Now, I don't think we
Kevin's
said,
like, well,
maybe
I
it's
don't know.
obvious, this is Black Friday, right? The day after
Yeah.
Thanksgiving?
It's
okay.
Black Friday, yeah.
So
yeah,
if you want to come out and wait in line,
yeah.
because there will be a line, right?
There will
you're
be,
talking
yeah.
about this
Yeah.
is an event.
Now, somebody
gonna
said
have music, we're gonna-
somebody was
Nice.
grilling in line at
Oh,
one point.
man.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Oh, yeah. Shorty's said that they were going to be open for some, I think they're going to do some breakfast
Wow.
burritos and sell to the line. So,
That would be very good because
Yeah.
I've seen people with McDonald's bags and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
oh, yeah. I hear all the, like Bean Tree later on will be like, hey, thanks for having the event. We were packed. And,
For sure.
Now,
And everybody,
in
right,
your
you know-
experience, if you want to get a decent spot in line, not too far back,
Yeah.
how early do you need to get here?
I mean,
When
if
should
you want to
they
get
show
right
up?
in super early like that, I would probably suggest like 5.
5? Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it was
not too bad.
It was about 20 till 6 when I got here that early
Yeah.
in the morning that time, and we were down at Randy's Double R.
You were all the way
Okay.
down the
Man.
Like having a beer there? Or
No, waiting in line.
Oh, waiting in line.
Thought about going and getting
I
one
mean,
just for the
you
wait.
Well, Randy's is open for breakfast.
They are, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, for beer, yeah.
Well, I mean,
A shot in a beer.
that's a breakfast champions. Wow, that's cool. So Beer Friday, and then anything other event-wise going through the holidays before the breakfast, Bavarian Breakfast?
We have a couple kind of smaller things. Like we'll do an oatmeal cookie amber beer. We've done that in the past. Kind of tastes like liquid oatmeal cookies.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a really good beer. We usually have like a release party kind of a thing with that, and sometimes we do like Christmas carols that night. So it's kind of a fun, and it's also like a Christmas cookie exchange type situation too. You don't have to bring anything, but a lot of people do. So there's you can eat the cookie, drink the cookie, sing some. I mean, if you can't get in the mood right there, I don't know.
Trade them off.
Yeah. What else do we have? Gosh,
we have some other just like town events, like the Glow Parade.
Right. Yes.
And so, do you guys find business picks up that night? People are all just standing out in the front of it.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's just a nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, when anytime you can put all these people downtown, we're busy.
Yep.
And it's really awesome actually.
That weekend is just full of stuff to do in this town. It's the kickoff of the Waterloo Optimist Club Christmas tree lot.
Yep.
So you can go buy a Christmas tree. And I remember a few years ago. Here's an inside tip for our listeners. Jump on Facebook and go to the Waterloo Optimist Facebook page and scroll back a few years, and you'll see my live stream of being on the float.
Oh, wow. Nice.
The Glow Parade. I don't think that got taken down yet. Maybe it
Not
should
yet. No one's reported that one yet. Oh, man. Yeah. What else? There's the Christmas tree lighting at the courthouse square. There's the kind of the ceremonial Christmas tree,
and that's usually a pretty nice event outside.
It is, yeah. It's a fun little. I heard I heard some of one of the high school bands is going to come and play some Christmas carols for that, or a chorus or something. Somebody's doing something for that. Which will be really fun.
Cool.
What
Musical
else?
entertainment will be provided.
That's right.
Exactly. We make a beer. Our Christmas beer is called Cotton Headed Ninny Muggins.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be on tap around Thanksgiving. Actually,
can you describe that beer? What would you say the flavor profile is?
It is like everything that you could ever want in a Christmas beer in one cup of beer. It's like it's some spices, kind of some of the same spices as like the pumpkin beer. So it's like a 8% alcohol beer. It's a winter warmer. It's supposed to warm you up, but it's got cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice in it. We put some fresh orange peel in there to give it kind of a citrusy deal going on, and we put vanilla in there as well.
Yeah,
sounds pretty tasty.
It's a good beer.
Feeds into one of Chris's all-time fantasies that I'm not sure it happened yet, but the fantasy is that there's like people here in the bar, and then 3 feet of snowfall, and everybody just spends the whole day here at the bar.
Yeah,
that's
right.
not just Chris's fantasy. That's a lot of people's fantasy.
Or like you just have no excuse. Like or you. I guess you have the perfect excuse. Is really what it is.
Right.
To just sit here. I'm snowed in.
I
stuck
can't
at the
get
bar.
home.
I always remember one year. We got like a bunch of ice, like an ice storm or whatever, and I tried to just walk in the back. The little slope that's in our back parking lot. How hilly that is. It's not. I mean, there's a hill, but not that much. I slid all the way down, like on my feet, all the way down. And I'm like, Shh. So I pulled myself up on those little parking signs that we have out there. I pulled myself back up. I got in here, and I'm like, well, I'm here until
not going anywhere
until something happens.
Well, and the message there is that where other establishment might close and say, oh, no, it's snowing out, you got to go home. Here,
it wouldn't be the right thing to do. To kick everyone out in those terrible conditions?
You have to at least wait for the snowplow to go through.
Well, that's what I was waiting on.
That's it. Maybe
salt on them roads.
Maybe there's a beer name in there, Snowplowed.
Oh, wow, that is a good one.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Snowplowed.
All right, well, so there's a lot to do, and I'm sure Tammy's going to put a lot of these events on the Stubborn German Facebook page.
Yes, and I think she's also going to start putting like our a lot of our new merchandise that we got. So we always have T-shirts and hoodies, that kind of thing. She just got socks made with our little
you guys stepped it up. You got some jackets and the socks and all kinds of cool
coffee
stuff.
Mugs with our. They're really killer. The coffee mugs, the little whiskey glasses that are engraved. I mean, since we have our new little merchandise area, like it's been stepped up.
Well, now you've got a more proper place to display everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So
there's more room for that stuff. Yeah,
you had to get some newer stuff in there to make it all look right.
Kind of have to, yeah,
for sure.
So
Well, that's too cool.
we're excited.
And of these other events, the ones that you need to get tickets for would be probably just the Bavarian Breakfast.
Right. Yeah, everything else you kind of just show up. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. Well, we'll do that.
And these events will all be promoted on Facebook.
Facebook for sure.
And you can get all the information you need there. So.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you want any more insight, just call Mike.
That's right.
Yeah, he'll tell you all about it. Where,
He's been
what
to every
time
one
to
of
get
them.
there, where to stand. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and for people who don't like black beer, and that's one of the reasons why we came later in the afternoon the one time. My wife is not a big fan of black beer.
Right.
So when we came like 1 o'clock, I love black beer.
Yeah.
There was still black beer for me, but by that time, some
Yeah.
of them are running out, and he's putting regular beers on tap. So she has a beer to drink.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a win-win when I wait a little bit, but
Yeah.
I don't want to wait too long because I may miss out on one.
Yeah, you don't want to miss too many, but yeah. So that's what we do. Is there's a few that are only maybe 5 gallons of that beer, and we'll sell through that by lunchtime. So 3 or 4 of the beers will probably be gone by around noon, and as they kick, we go ahead and put like the lightest beer. So we'll probably like put Kolsch on first. So it's like the opposite of a black beer. So then, towards the end of the evening, you can kind of come back and look and go, oh, well, they went through a lot of beer.
And that party will go on all night.
Oh yeah. Well, that's you watch the sun come up here and you watch it go back down.
And by the way, kick is a technical term for keg running dry.
There you go. Just like the jockey box.
That's it.
I know the term.
Boy,
kick.
our listeners are in the know on
Yes,
this episode.
for sure.
All right. Well, you know what they also want to know is the we gave away.
we
the
already
answer.
gave it away.
We
Yeah.
can
I had
rehash that
Zero
though.
reason to listen
I
to
had
the rest
that
of
one.
it.
I know, imposter. We got to give them something, So if you weren't paying attention, it means imposter.
It does. It means imposter. Sorry, Mike. I love you.
All good. All good. All right. Well, hey, this was a fun one. I appreciate
It was.
Mike Fausz for joining us. Thanks for
I appreciate you inviting me.
and for always
Yeah.
being here and being a staple at all these events, being a big supporter of the
Thank
establishment.
you, Mike. I
Hey.
appreciate it.
Heck yeah.
We have our little Friday group that we try to meet here every
Mike's,
afternoon.
Mike's in on the Friday group for sure.
Yep.
The Friday group is a group of regulars that we open early on Fridays, 3 o'clock, and usually between 3 and 6 o'clock. That's kind of the time for
Yep.
the Friday happy hour. Group.
Happy hour. That's why you said your schedule's cleared until 3 p.m. on Friday.
Exactly. 3 p.m. I have an appointment.
Yes. That's right over there at the bar.
Exactly.
Me in a bar stool.
Yeah, very cool. All right, well, friends, if you enjoyed this episode, I don't know how you couldn't, hit that subscribe button because we'll have more fun stuff, more local friends and fans who come here to the establishment. We invite you to come by to Stubborn German Brewing Company. Come to some of these events. It's almost guaranteed to have a great time.
Almost guaranteed.
How about that? Almost guaranteed. Well,
I mean, if you're into Coors Light, maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe.
So for Mr. Chris Ron, Jared Chasson, and Mike Fausz, I'm Kevin Ostie saying, Prost!
Prost.